Okay, guys, welcome to today's session. Today we are going to learn about web stories, which were previously also known as AMP stories. And this is also part of the AMP crash course that we performed, in which we covered all of the AMP, the basic of AMPs, how you can create AMP pages, and all those things. But today we are going to learn more deep about AMP stories. It's also one of the standard functionality that AMP actually offers. So for those of you, if you don't know about stories, I guess hardly anybody would be there to, who doesn't know about stories these days. So AMP stories are basically same as what you see in Instagram statuses or WhatsApp statuses or even Facebook statuses. All these Snapchat actually brought this concept way back for the first time, and then everybody started copying it. But the problem with these stories is, as we know, that you can only consume it within the platform, but nobody was able to create this capability inside their own web project. So AMP actually stood up and came up with this concept of creating stories in HTML format using just a library function, and then creating a format so that we can easily create these web stories which are easy, engaging, and fun. So I already introduced to you about the AMP stories in the first session, but what actually AMP stories are, and today we are going to learn much, kind of deep about what AMP stories are. So about me, I'm Aman, CTO at Twimbit, and also I'm lead at Mobile Web Dev and AMP and OSI member. And so I have already introduced you to the course. So we will actually understand much basics about the code structure of how AMP stories actually work, how you can create your own AMP stories, and how they are beneficial. Some do's and don'ts about AMP stories. So this is all what we are going to cover. So we will also create a multi-page story with AMP story component. We'll add some kind of visual effects to our stories, and we will see how you can add layer templates to your whole story so that it becomes much more interactive and engaging. We will also add audio to some of our pages so that they become interactive. Then we will animate these elements on the page so that again, the things that you see in Instagram, you can also create that in AMP stories in HTML format. And we will learn at the end of the story how you can keep your readers engaged with some of the best practices and do's and don'ts. So some of the course prerequisites that you should already know. You should know a little bit about HTML, kind of the basic stuff. Then need to know about CSS if you want to apply advanced stylings to your whole thing. And then you should know about JavaScript a little bit, not that much. We'll not be using a lot of JavaScript. Everything is built in inside the components. And basic knowledge of AMP HTML will also apply to the component structure that you do in AMP stories. So let's see how you can actually start setting up. So I didn't cover up this thing in AMP HTML format, but for this you can actually download this code that I have created, like the sample code that we have created for a story that is a AMP pet story, which is a very interactive way of seeing how the working example works. By the way, this animation is nowhere related to that story. It's just a phone with a sidebar, and I can share this link afterward this session, and we can really try to get started with this sample code that we have provided over here. Then next thing that you would need is to set up your local server. There are various ways to do it. You can set up a BAMP, Apache, or just if you're using WebStorm or VS Code, you can set up a live node on any other port and see the URL working so that you can do the live validation, fixing, and things like that. So I assume that you already know about this thing. So let's go ahead and understand the basic parts of an AMP story. So this is what actually comprises of AMP story. So basically, the way AMP story actually looks like, let me go into a live example if I can, and show you how AMP stories look like. So there is this website that contains all of the AMP stories which are from different parts of the world. Who is creating this is like a central repository of AMP stories. So let's go ahead and click off the most interactive one that we can find over here. Maybe this one. So this is a AMP story. This is right now in a landscape mode. There are two modes, landscape and portrait. When you see it in the full screen, it's a landscape mode, and when you see just the phone in the middle, that's a portrait mode. So there is a button which you can click to move ahead in the stories. Then you have different animations that are going on, and you have the most important element is this bar, which is called as page, and then you have content over it. So getting back to our presentation, this thing that is the page is the main element which people tap, and then within every page there are various layers which make all the things interactive, and within every layer you can have multiple elements. So you can have different indexes of the way how you are presenting your information on. So we'll go in detail in how to actually do this thing. This is how a code structure looks like. So imagine this is the inside part of the body of your HTML code. So you have to declare this AMP story and attribute named as standalone inside as the main component, and then you have to create individual pages. You can insert multiple pages tag, and by this pages tag actually AMP story understand that this is the next step for which it has to go to the next screen. So these are the basically our tabs. So in this example we have two tabs. One is the AMP story page, and then you have to give a ID which should be unique. In this case we have page 1 and page 2. You can name them only 1 or 2 also, but the only rule is that it has to be unique. Then within each page you have various layers, and you can have multiple layers. You can stack layers over layers with different CSS properties and templatings, whatever you want to use. And then within each layer you have various elements. So this is the main schema, the structure of how AMP story code looks like. And after you code everything like this, then is the final look of the AMP story that comes upon. So let's see how you can start your own story, the web story actually. So it's very easy. Firstly, you need to include this AMP story extended component inside your AMP HTML. You don't need to include the basic AMP tag. You just need to include directly the AMP story if you're using AMP story inside your project in the head section. And then you have to declare a AMP story standalone inside the main body tag of your HTML body. After this, you have to add some more properties, like what is the title that you want to give to the story, what is the publisher. These are some kind of attributes, and metadata. So this metadata helps every story to gain some additional things like icons and things like that. So AMP actually understand these metadata and then make your story more interactive and different things that you can add to the story. So firstly, the first thing that comes in AMP story is the cover page. So to add a cover page, you have to name the ID as cover after you have created all the AMP story components. And then the AMP story page component you will use for your first page and name it as cover. After this, you will add more layers to your cover page. In this case, we have added a grid layer. This is the tag that you have to use, AMP story grid layer. Then you can use different templates. I will talk about templates more in this session. And then you can include different elements, like we have included this image. We have used the template fill, which means that this image will be up in fill mode in the whole story, and it would look something like this, which with a full bleed on the thing. So this is layer 1 and layer 2. This is the code for layer 1, and this is the image that appears after we add this layer, this thing. So there is a norm of which height and width you should use for your AMP story so that it looks good and great on phone in the full screen mode. Even it can cover up notch and phones aspect like these. Then you have to apply the attributes like width and height. In this case we have used the height as 1280 into 720, and set the mode to layout. Set the layout mode to responsive, which means the image size will change according to the height, the width will change, and the standard height should be 1280. So this is how you have to put the image in the layer 1. And this is an example of how the layering actually works, how you can use different templates. So the first one that we saw was a template fill, which means that whatever you put, whatever elements you put inside this template, the whole page is going to contain that image. So remember that we put a AMP story grid layer, which has a template fill option. And then inside this AMP image, whatever elements you will put, that will exactly go as a fill template. Then another template way is to use vertical. Vertical means every element that you add will be stacked over one another, like in this way. In horizontal, it will be stacked in this format in horizontal order. And then you have the rules of thirds, in which you can apply different attributes again to the individual elements, like upper third, middle third, and lower third, which can change the position of the element and can make your product very responsive. So this is again an example of how you will add another element inside your whole cover page. So what actually AMP does is it automatically adds this thing that you can see on the top so that your text is visible clearly. So we have gone ahead, added a new grid layer, and inside this grid layer, this is your first grid layer, which was the background, this small boy with a cat, very cute. And then you have another layer which is again for this text, and we have named this layer template as vertical. Now if you go back, you see that the vertical template layer is where every element is tagged one over another. So whatever we'll insert inside this template, h1p or whatever element attributes that you will use, it will automatically go as a stacking inside your amp grid layer. So also you might be wondering that do you have to create a different layer for mobile and desktop view? The answer is no. There is an AMP whole story responsive mode in which you have to set the attribute of AMP story as responsive, and then it automatically changes the size in desktop and mobile view. But somehow I found it like little bit kind of overaging because your image might get cropped when it's mobile mode, and in desktop mode it has to expand. So I am rather preferring to create independent queries and things like that, making it more responsive for the mobile view first and then going for the desktop view. But talking about the capability, yes, it is possible to create it as an automatic responsive both in mobile and in desktop mode. Then our AMP also offer a very unique property, that is adding animations. There is no use of stories without actually adding animation element inside your stories. So AMP has a built-in capability of adding animations to your stories. And this is how you do it. There are different types of animation presets that you can see over here. There are more than that, and we have just mentioned few of them. Like you can see it's the same like your PowerPoint animations that they offer, like drop, fade in bottom, fade in left, fade in right, fade in top, or everything like this. And you have to just copy and paste this animation preset inside the animation preset attribute for the layer you want to put animations for. And you can also increase and decrease the default duration, which will increase or decrease the speed of your story. And by default, it offers these as this animation speeds. This is an example how do you actually put different animations inside your element. So for example, if you want to put animation to the whole page, by the way, you can apply animations to any of the element inside amp story, whether it is a page or a grid layer or a amp grid layer element itself. What you need to do, you need to identify the page that you want to apply animations for, and you have to use this attribute called as animate in and the name of the animation that you want to use. Suppose that you want to use drop text for your animation, you will use animate in and drop in this thing. So this is how your attribute will look like. You wanted to apply this animations to this paragraph, so you had inserted this animation animate in, and the name of the animation is fly in left, which means the element will fly from left side to the right side, fly in left. And this will be the animation delay, how much delay it is occurring of after appearing of this page. This is that delay, and then the duration, how fast or slow the thing should move, and then your actual attribute or the component that you want to apply inside this. So this is how easy it is to add animations to your amp story element. You can also put these same attributes to the page and it will behave in the same manner. So you can also animate the whole page. Let me find if there is any kind of solution to that. Right now you can see that this is just plain, and then we have applied this animation in motion right to these different paragraphs that are going in, I guess. And this we have applied again the animations to different images. So you can see you can apply different animations to individual elements. So this was all about the elements. This is like basic stuff. So to quickly recap, if I want to go back to my this architecture format, this is the best way to understand. This is all about what the code structure of AMP story actually looks like. So you have the whole AMP story component. Inside the AMP story component, you have individual pages, and inside individual pages, you have various layers, and every layers contain different elements. And when you go to the code, this is the structure that appears for that whole code structure. And then we saw how you can apply different effects to these layers, how you can make them cover out of different sizes, and also how you can animate different components inside this thing. Before going to the bookend, I would like to show you a live example of how story code structure look like. So I would directly go and inspect this story from Washington Post to explain you how things are looking. So let me go and do a responsive mode and stick my inspect element to the right. So this is my ham story. Let me zoom in a little bit into the code. I hope you can see. And this is too much zoomed in, I guess. Yes, I think this is better. So this is our body. In our head, we have included our amp story extended component over here. They have gone ahead and added some more components which you might not need on regular basis. It's good to know that they have added these things. Then when you go inside your body element, we are still on our head element of the whole page. This is our body element, and inside the body you have this component amp story. Then we have put the attribute standalone and other attribute properties like publisher, who is the publisher logo, and things like that. So all these things are helping this story to add different kind of properties to this whole story. And then this is nothing, amp geo is another form of, again, using different data for different geographical locations. uh, yeah, this is an interesting page. Then you have an app story page inside it. It should be the first page. Now you will be able to see that when I hover into this amp page ID, which is written as slide 0, this doesn't highlights any text over it. And then when I go back to my first screen and I hover over it, you can see that this page is getting highlighted. Again, the story page second is something that is on the second level, so this won't get highlighted back again, and as follows. So again, let's go a little deeper and see the code changes inside it. By the way, I'm using just a normal Google Chrome, and I have used the inspect element mode in which I have set the device to responsive so that I can use see the story and the code of the story at the same time. Yep. So again, to see, then we have added a grid layer. This grid layer is just to set it as a property of the back element, which is applying the yellow color, I guess. Then you have another grid layer, and again a layer for this GIF which is in the background. Then this grid layer is giving the property where it has written the Washington Post on top. Again, various attributes. It has applied the layout as container and the template as vertical. So what does the template vertical does? It organizes all the element in vertical stacks. Again, then you have another vertical element which we have given some CSS properties over here using this class element, and you can actually apply custom CSS property also. And then you have used the align content and properties using the CSS attribute over here. And this is how the page works like. And finally, when you do everything in this code structure, it will appear as these different screens over here. Yes, so AMP has an inbuilt mode with which you can have automatic transition of the slides automatically in 10 seconds or 5 seconds. I need to see if there is a story available for that transition so that I can show you. Of course. Yeah, but answering like your question, yes, you can automatically have a playback of the story and it can automatically advance to the next. Let me actually try to find that component for you. AMP story automatic. This one doesn't has that animation. Which one will have? Most of the people don't use that because they want it to tap and then go. And yeah, you can, that is what we are going to cover. It can use those properties. But getting back to the main element, then amp story also offers another unique element that is called bookend, which means that the end of your amp story. And how that actually appears is something like this. If you want to give some kind of relevant information to the users who are coming to your platform, you can place this bookend. And it's very easy to place the bookend just after the end of your last amp story page. You have to include this element, which is amp story bookend. Then you have to add the source of the bookend, which has to be a JSON file, bookend.json. And let me try to find for you how does a sample bookend JSON file looks like. Yeah, you don't need any extra additional script. It works with the inbuilt script. So this is how your bookend JSON actually looks like. Let me zoom into the page a little bit. And you can see we have used a bookend version. There are various versions for bookend. And then you have share providers. Now share providers are actually used to add different share options. If I go back to any of these stories and tap, 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 go to the end. So you will see that this option appears. This is the bookend. Now if you go back to mobile web dev, which also uses AMP story. So if I go to the end part, uh, yes. So this also has this bookend, and how we have written the text and everything over here is using the bookend JSON configuration that it gives. So let's go back to the AMP documentation. And you can include various components. The various component includes headings, various small elements which you can go, and you can go into the amp story book and documentation to explore more about how you can apply these attributes and things like that, which can make a very beautiful bookend at the end part of your story. Then amp story also has an inbuilt share capability. So for the JSON as part as concerned, what you need to do actually is whenever you create a bookend, you name the source as bookend.json. Then you create another file which is on this location bookend.json. And inside this bookend.json file, you add all those properties that you want to use. No, you cannot use stories as scrollable. Stories only support tabs. But there is a unique way to do that inside our 2Mbed platform. What we have done, we have embedded the whole AMP story inside our platform using an iframe. AMP stories can be embedded inside HTML page using iframes, and then there is these tabs which goes on, and then you can also scroll to go to the rest of the website. This is also a very unique way of using your AMP stories. Meanwhile, it remains inside the page, and then you can, if you want, you can open this page in a new tab, and you will be able to see that the story exists as independent story also. Here it goes. I guess we have a very beautiful created bookend for our 2Mbed AMP story. No, we don't. We just have this end part and that's it. But you can include back bookend like this one. Then you have an inbuilt capability that is known as share, which if anybody in your who you are sharing this AMP story with is using a native app smartphone, you would like them to offer a share capability so that they can share the AMP story directly to different social media channels and things like that. So AMP has an inbuilt capability of sharing. So you remember the attribute that we were using inside our bookend.json. We had a component named as share provider. Let's go back to the documentation and see that. So this is our sample JSON, and we had this thing called as let me find that. Yeah, share provider. So this is actually an object that has items array, and individual item array can contain various social media platforms like Facebook, Twitter, and email. You just need to name them, and it will automatically keep adding to the bookend which platform you want to share your things with. just need to write them. And get link is by default available, you cannot remove that, but you can add optional as Facebook, Twitter, and email. So then one more component that is available, which we are using inside our mobile web dev, that is called the sidebar. So this was the share capability I was talking about. You can add this share button, which share the platform with different label devices. Then you have this unique sidebar that you can add, which is also a good way of adding a like kind of interactivity. You can import different elements, things like that. And by the way, when I go to the story, this is also 100% valid app. Again, very good at doing the SEO job. So AMP sidebar can be easily imported by doing this script import, which is an extended component. A standard AMP sidebar, a standard AMP sidebar, which you can include as an extended component. And then you have to create this standard AMP sidebar component that you created inside your AMP HTML also. And you have to include that element. It will automatically appear inside the AMP story. It is totally compatible, both of these. And then you can use the actions and events, such as we have used the AMP bind for the tap. And as soon as you click on a button, the whole sidebar opens and closes. So this thing you already know. If you haven't, visit back the AMP, I think course intermediate, in which we discussed about the sidebar. So you can use the same sidebar component inside the AMP story. For styling, you can give attributes like minimum width and maximum width. And you can also provide things like auto scrolling if your things are going out of the hand. So this view is also available as an attribute. So, and you can also build a nested menu just using the listed and listed menu. Let me zoom in so that you can see the whole code over here. I don't know if you can see it clearly, but you have just simple AMP sidebar, and then you have put a nested menu list using the unordered list and ordered list. You can also use this unique component that comes again back with AMP sidebar, that is called AMP nested menu, which also helps you to create a very good nested menu for your AMP story. Then you have AMP analytics. Now, starting with the course, I explained you that one of the best advantage of using AMP story is that it helps you to actually capture how many tabs you are getting for individual story page. We use that for our AMP story or mobile web AMP story, and this analytics help you understand how far your user is going in the different pages. So to explain you this AMP analytics concept, basically you need to include this normal AMP analytics extended component inside your AMP document, and then you have to add different application attributes. Now this API ID, various attributes, this information you get from your analytics provider. For example, if you're using Google Analytics, you would like to use the user ID that this vendor provides. And you can, this actually properties varies for various vendors for various things. So if I click on the vendor option, you'll be able to see there are various vendors like Amplitude. There will be Google Analytics also. So Google Analytics is the most popular one, so you can include that analytics inside your AMP story. Then just to add send data after they are doing tabs on different things, this you can easily do by some kind of configuration, and I'll explain you how you can do that. So send a data to a specific URL. This is for sending data to an in-house data request. Again, you can use the XHR request for this thing. Let's see if there is a live example for that. So this is the custom AMP analytics thing that we are using to send the data. For example, if you have set up your own backend Python server which is going to capture the requests, so you can just add page view and the name of the thing, and then you can track various events that are going on. So not something that you would do on normal day. You can just use AMP analytics for most of the things to track how many pages they are tapping on and things like that. You can also do some more configuration in the analytics. Let's see what these configurations look like. So you have a request name, which tends to give the value of the whole analytics thing. Then you have var value, which goes with the variable, like if you want to track the actual user, and extra URL params, high-end property, Yeah, so this trigger name actually means which triggers you want to measure for AMP story as far as concerned. If you go to the AMP documentation, you'll be able to find there is a trigger which triggers on the tab. And then this is the transport which you are using for the AMP analytics. Again, I'll skip this part. This is something that is not that relevant. Object request is not really was relevant. If you want to get in detail, you can get that, but this is something that just I added to the slide so that I can discuss more. So next is validating your AMP HTML. Now AMP story HTML validation also works same as AMP. You need to put the endpoint of whatever thing you want to validate, and then you have to use the validator over this URL, and it will tell you all the errors that are occurring with the particular AMP story. Again, something that you already know about, so nothing to actually discuss. So let's see a common elements attribute that you can apply to various elements of AMP stories. By the way, these element attributes you can also use for different AMP HTML components that you were seeing in the before discussions. So let's actually talk about them. It's very interesting. I try to create that as simple as possible. So one of the attribute is fallback. Fallback attribute is used if that DOM doesn't loads a data for some reason. So the fallback it is acting as a fallback. For example, if we have included a AMP animation which doesn't load for some reason, then we use a div fallback and then put whatever div you want to put inside this for the fallback attributes. So this is very good if you don't want users to see a blank screen for some reasons, and you can use this attributes on the fallback property to make your things much more engaging for the user if it doesn't load. Then you have the height property, which helps you make the whole thing responsive. I mean, like set the height of the thing. And by the way, some of you were asking what does the responsive mode actually does. So responsive mode is there to make your width according to the height. So for example, the default height and width you set it as 100 and 200. Now, if you set the mode to responsive, every time the height increases to 200, the width should increase to 400. So that is how the AMP layout attribute responsive helped you. Then you have different layouts that we were also discussing in the AMP story also, which are responsive, no display, things like that. So this is an animation which easily explain what are the different attributes and how they actually behave. So the first one is a fill attributes. What does fill attribute do? It actually fills your whole component across the width of the screen. You can see in this animation pretty clearly. If yellow is your screen size and blue is your div which you have applied fill for, then it will automatically change the size according to the screen. Then the next one you have is fixed. Fixed doesn't changes the height or width, is changing height and width. Then you have responsive. Responsive changes the height and width according to the screen size, and it does this with keeping the aspect ratio of the image, locked. So this is what the responsive actually does. Then you have intrinsic. Intrinsic means that there is a specific maximum width and height that you can provide, and when it goes smaller than that width and height, it goes responsive. So this is like a subset of responsive thing, but without increasing the height and width to a particular thing. Then you have fixed height, which doesn't changes the height of the component, but the width changes with the screen size. Then you have flex items. These flex items again are different items, and the main parent body property has been given as flex over here in this case, which makes everything just stand like that and doesn't changes the property. And then you have containers. If you give the container property, the thing will automatically move to the down part, and you can apply these components, by the way, layouts components to AMP story and AMP HTML. Both of them works very fine with this layout. And then you have no display, which simply means that you are not going to display anything for this layout. Then talking about action and events, they are exactly same as what you saw inside AMP HTML. So the way you were using on tap and then the trigger that you were using and also the AMP bind methods, they exactly apply the same as in AMP story. If you haven't covered the action and events part, so go back to the AMP advanced and AMP intermediate course. I have explained it very well how the action and event actually works in those things. Then let's talk about some of the do's and don'ts that you need to kind of follow when you are creating AMP stories. So there is a particular document that AMP has actually created. I will cover some of these do's and don'ts. For example, one of the do is to use full bleed videos so that everything is kind of engaging, which you see in a normal Instagram story, not in this landscape video mode, which doesn't has any fallback and everything looks like blank. Then another good thing is to use captions. Yes, AMP stories with video options and offers an option to use captions so that these captions actually appears while you are doing that. To do that, you have to include a different caption file along with your AMP story, and it does this job very well. Then another way to do that, to do AMP stories is to make sure that no images are actually cropped. All the people who are inside the AMP story are visible, and also to make sure that the contrast between the text you are writing on the story and what you have in the background actually is readable in that case, and high contrast is the way to do it. If you don't have somehow that option and you still want to use that image, it's better to use another layer in between your text and the background and add a tint over this layer so that there is a background that is supporting with this text and you can easily read this text whenever you want. Then about the images, always try to use full screen images, not these small ones. It kind of look bad and destroys the whole experience. But the full screen thing looks quite amazing when they are seeing this in full bleed mode. That is what you can use. I will also would like to go through some of the more best practices that AMP actually offers itself. Let's see what are those. I already discussed this part that you should include the full bleed videos, you should use the captions, then images should be full bleed, and nothing should crop out for the photos. The text should have high contrast. If somehow you cannot, this is again a good option to do that. You can apply a background to the text that you are writing so that the text independently has a background and everything is easily readable. And you should not include a lot of words in this case. It becomes a little hard for the person to read it. Animations is a good way to keep people engaging. You can include different kind of animations instead of just keeping a static one. And then timing is everything, as you know, like instead of making everything go like this, it has a Ken Berners effect which make everything zoom during the animation is working. So just make sure to use the delays and the animation speed wisely so that your amp whole story looks good. As you can see, this is a slow one which makes much good effect, but this one moving so fast is not that good. Again, you try to use various elements instead of just using one. As you can see, this one is more interactive than this one, so you can create all these elements which makes your story kind of fun. So this is more about AMP stories. Let me go through some of your questions so that I can see. Can we use array in JSON file and access and mix it? So AMP story bookend JSON, if you're talking about, it has a particular structure of how you can put element inside that. You cannot use like any kind of JSON. So to get into that proper structure, please visit this documentation guide on AMP dev documentation components and AMP story bookend. They have a sample kind of code that you can use and add different properties. Plus, I will be also providing you to the link of the deck that I'm using in this story part, so that you can download the whole story yourself and then apply all this effect inside your own components without writing the scratch code, all that thing. What else? Sir, I used images but responding as complete width. I don't know about Omkar about this thing. Maybe you are using some kind of bad element. So any other question, if you have, just ask them on Slack. So to give you a quick summarization of what we did today, we learned about how AMP story actually works, what are AMP stories actually, and what are the different structure of the story, what are the different animations that you can add to this story, what are bookend and share options that are available, what are the different element attributes that you can apply, and some of the few do's and don'ts that you can use in your AMP story to make everything interactive. You cannot create a separate AMP story for mobile and desktop view. You have to make them responsive. That is the way to do it. So what next? Try out more components that I haven't covered in this section. You can always go to amp.dev, go to the stories section, and you will see there are a lot of contents, book components that are available. Go try them out according to your needs, and then fit them inside your amp story so that you make as much as engaging as possible. Start creating a world of beautiful amp stories for your personal project instead of just creating plain HTML pages. Create amp stories for wherever is possible. Try to use AMP stories for your personal project instead of creating PPTs and things like that. And don't forget to contribute and share what you have learned today, because this is an amazing thing. Everybody should know that, right? So this is what it is. So with this, good luck with learning AMP stories. And if you have any questions,